Ladies and gentlemen, the unusual artistry of Sid Croft.
Hi, everybody. In case you're curious in what I did yesterday, oh wow, I turned 93, so that means today.
That's what you did yesterday?
Well, wait a minute. I turned 93, Kelly, so I'm 93 and 1 day old. How about that? Yesterday I went to Long Beach for the day and the Midsummer Scream convention. Oh my God, I wish you were there. It's like Halloween in July. We just laughed our butts off. It was so much fun. And I want to thank all the fans that came out there, not only to wish me a happy birthday, but we got to talk to so many people. It was absolutely great. And then when I got home last night, my phone, I have a landline. I'm probably the only person on the planet that still has one. And my phone was full. Kelly, I didn't know I knew that many people.
It's because you don't. They just talk a lot.
They do? They did keep calling me back because they were worried. Excuse me, my voice, I talked too much yesterday to all those people, and maybe loud because it was pretty loud there. So anyway, I want to thank all the fans that wished me a happy birthday on Instagram yesterday. Wow, it was overwhelming. And you want to know something? All of you, you just melt my heart. Thank you so much. Also, I heard all day long, I got a message from Paul Rubens. And Paul, later in the day yesterday, sent me a live, what do you call it, Kelly? A live, not an Instagram.
Like a cameo.
A cameo. And, oh, I will cherish that for the rest of my life. It was awesome. I can't play it for you because it was really personal. And, well, maybe I will. Okay. So, anyway, thank you so much. For me, the most exciting part of my show business career is when I look back and go back to the 40s and the 50s. When it was just me. It was just my act, my puppet act, the unusual artistry of Sid Croft. And my puppet act opened for so many huge stars. And God, if I started telling you all the stars that I work with, you'd call me a star dropper, is that it?
A name dropper.
A name dropper?
Yes.
Well, a star name dropper. That sounds better to me. And I've got to stay humble, okay?
Good luck.
Yeah. So, in 1949, I got my biggest break. I got a Broadway show that ran for a year, and then going into the 50s, after that, I don't know, my act became an act that was in demand. And I was a pretty big hit in that Broadway show. I walked away with most of the reviews, and I'm sorry, I apologize. Everything is me today. But, okay. But anyway, I was just overwhelmed with jobs. And then in the 50s, I was offered, it was a huge job to open for a big star on a tour. We were going to tour state fairs in major cities. And that was a big deal. It still is, of course. And in the afternoon, they would have a show at the grandstand show, and then another performance at night, and then we'd move on to the next state fair. So it it was like a huge attraction, like I say, and and boy, I struck gold because when they told me who the star was, whoa, you know me, I'm I just said I'm a star.
You're a name dropper.
No, a starstruck.
Okay.
Starstruck. And so,
Are you starstruck?
yeah, yeah, of course, we all are. That's why we go to movies
Okay.
and go to concerts, of course. Um, and so, yes, it was a huge, huge trip for me when I heard who the star was, and couldn't be bigger. And then I gotta tell you, today, yes, we're gonna have another huge trip because that star is coming on live today and he's joining me. And ladies and gentlemen, I can't to see my friend and someone I haven't seen in many, many years. Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Boone. Pat, come on on. And, and while we're waiting for Pat to come on, and he knows Kelly rehearsed with him a few minutes ago, and all you have to do is hit a button, right, Pat? Okay, but I've been on for 2 years on Instagram, and I've had so many stars if you keep watching me every week. But this is the one I've been waiting for, and it's so exciting to me, and it is going to happen any second. I wish you could all be in my.
These are the parts where Sid's always like,
Uh,
why, Kelly? And he can't tap dance.
no,
So he
I'm not
doesn't,
a good tap dancer.
he
I'm
does.
not even a good speaker. I
No.
mean, come
So
on.
all during these times, what you guys don't see
Yeah.
is
I mean, why?
Sid moves a lot, by the way. So he's got like nervous energy. So the whole time we're like waiting for somebody to come on, he's like tap dancing. You guys don't see it. That's why we're always
Well,
like, keep tap dancing.
I don't really have any notes, and so in my mind, I set a show, and do you think? Um, I mean, he did really, really well, but this this is not just Pat, because this happens.
This happens often.
Oh my God, too often for me, because once my star comes on, I'm okay, but just waiting and waiting.
And you would think Sid, for all of his talking, he would be good at the like chit chat. He's totally not.
Okay,
hold on.
That's my phone, and it must be. Okay, so anyway, I have to tell you a story while we're waiting for him to come on. A few weeks ago, a friend of mine called me and said, "You know who would be a great, great guest on your show? Pat Boone. Do you know him?" I said, "Oh my God, what a great, great idea." Are we hitting the button again? Okay, I have to keep talking. Kelly's waving her arms frantically at me. Okay, so I said, yeah, we're going to tell a story when Pat comes on. I almost blew him up. Yeah, and he told this story on Johnny Carson many, many times, and I can't wait for you to hear it. There's a couple of great, great stories. As a matter of fact, they're so good that they're my favorite stories since I've been in the business.
I keep doing it.
Okay, Kelly is whispering. So anyway, Kelly reached out to Pat Boone's office, and they immediately responded, and they said that Pat was on a cruise ship tour. Yeah, and he would be back.
All right.
I think it was last Wednesday or the
Yeah,
Wednesday before. And Kelly is trying to make this work. And so as soon as he got back, we heard from him, and he said, "Oh yes, I would definitely do Sid's show." So thank you so much, Pat. And I'd love to thank you in person. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. Just,
You know, the most fun part of this is that, you know, you try to get somebody to join in, and then I'm trying to make it so it's not noticeable. And of course, Sid keeps staring at me like I've got to like.
So Kelly, you know, you think I can't tap dance. What about you tap dancing?
I can tap dance.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how I'll tap dance.
Yeah.
I would tell you how amazing yesterday was.
It really was. It was a great way to spend.
And who you saw yesterday, because you saw somebody who played a sleaze stack. You saw somebody who did.
Well, everybody in Land of the Lost, yes.
Yeah.
And I saw some incredible fans. So anyway, we were on tour. Okay, I'm going to start telling you some of the stories. The tour that we did in Fair Dates, Connie Stevens, who was also a big star at the time, she's still a big star. I've been trying to reach her. I'd love to talk to her. And Brenda Lee, do you remember Brenda Lee? And I understand Brenda Lee lives in Texas somewhere or somewhere like that. I'd also love to have her on. And of course, Pat Boone was the featured attraction. And so what's happening?
You're supposed to just keep telling stories. You're not supposed to ask me what's happening.
I really would love Pat to be. Let me ask you something, everybody. Maybe it's my shirt. I decided.
I do blame your shirt.
And my hat. Am I too loud today?
I think you should change right now.
And right on camera.
So I'm going to tell everybody the behind the scenes, because no one ever knows the behind the scenes. So the behind the scenes is that a lot of people who follow me or who have found me, they see me doing these behind the scenes run throughs with our guests. So I usually use an account that isn't a real account per se, and I use it specifically for this. And I do run throughs with everybody, because the reality is Instagram Live can be daunting for quite a few people, especially those who are not knowledgeable of social media. And so then you have that issue. And then you also have the issue of people who are not knowledgeable of actually utilizing things like a cell phone. So you have a double whammy. So as of right now, we are playing with that, which is always fun and exciting. But when everything works and comes together, it's beautiful. So we're right in the middle of trying to get that to happen. And in the meantime, Sid, being a producer and being someone who goes on stage.
I'm not doing that well.
Well, you're a behind the scenes person, but as a tap dancer and a performer,
I'm doing it.
You are doing it.
Because you know what? The anticipation is just, are people turning us off?
Well, you only had 3 people watching to begin
with,
so
you
you're
say
totally
every
fine.
Week, and then we end up with 4.
Exactly.
Yeah, your mom tunes in every week.
My mom does tune in every week.
And, you know, Donnie, my adopted son, okay, I hope you're watching, because his son, Lucas, it's his birthday today.
Oh, Lucas, happy birthday, Lucas!
Lucas, I haven't given you your, I hope you're watching. I haven't given your present yet, but I'll be over after the show. We all live together on this.
In your commune?
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, where were we?
We were sitting right here.
Okay, I'm
So
gonna.
anyhow, in the back end, Sid does amazing at like 3 o'clock. I have a show.
Mm,
Everything after the 3 o'clock I have a show is hell's a poppin'. And
it,
hell's a poppin' for Sid is
what do you
not
mean?
when if things go wrong, you don't know how to like calmly just sit and chat.
I'm doing it. What are you talking about? Do you see me pulling out my hair, or do you see me
Yes.
freaking out?
Yes.
No, because those people out there, they just know how calm I am,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
and
Continue with that.
yeah.
Go on. Get
So
down
what
on
did
that
he
self.
say? What is it that don't talk about that?
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So I guess am I by myself for the hour?
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I
He's
don't know
he's
what's going on.
trying.
Yes.
He's
We are
trying.
currently in the middle of getting him going.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just tell the stories because they are really great. The two stories. Well, I'd love him to be on for especially the one
Okay, well
because
then don't say anything.
but the other one was,
How did you meet him? Let's
okay.
do that.
No, wait, I'm talking. Okay.
You're always
Kelly, I was I think we were in Ohio, the Ohio State Fair, and we did a matinee, and we were way out in the grandstand, and they had a trailer for Connie Stevens and Brenda Lee, and a trailer for Pat Boone and myself. And so we were stuck out there because usually the state fair is, not close to town or the hotel that we were living in. And Connie Stevens said, "Oh, let's go on the Midway, just the two of us." And because Pat Boone was such a huge, huge star, he wanted to go with us. But, with the 65 or 75,000 people out at the fair, it was, unless he had a whole bunch of bodyguards, it was impossible. So Connie and myself went on the Midway, and there was a freak show. And we said, we got to go in and see that. We went in, and the story is great because it was so incredible that we went back and we disguised Pat Boone. I'll tell you what we did, and brought him back to see what we just saw. And we saw, I don't know, you paid 50 cents. And the lion faced woman. And it was real. I guess it was real. And she had whiskers and a beard, and she looked like a lion. Okay. And then if you paid 50 cents more, you could go and see another attraction. It was the half man and half woman. Oh, we said, we got to go and see that. And it was like a hermaphrodite. And so,
a what?
isn't that the right word?
I like the way you say it. What did you say?
I don't know. I can't repeat it. My teeth are not working today. Okay, so anyway, because I probably said it wrong. And so we went in, and they separated the women with a sheet going right to the stage. The women had to be on one side of the sheet, and all the men on the other side. And then this, I don't know.
Person.
Would this person, was it a man or a woman? We didn't know. Came out and with a veil down to the ground. And she spoke in sort of a normal voice through the veil, and said, when I was born at birth, my mother fainted, and she pulled the the veil off, and she was standing sideways, and she had a high heel and lipstick on one side, and makeup on just the one eye, and you only saw the profile, and she, and a real high voice. She said, on this side, I am a woman. And then she turned to the other side, and she had a boot and and a half a beard that she grew. Well, I don't know. Was it fake? We 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 were pinching each other. We didn't know what. No, through the sheet, because I kept talking through the sheet to Connie. She said, you know, I can't be on this side alone. And we were like pinching each other through this white sheet. And so Kelly just went to see if we could get Pat on. We've never had this long problem before. So anyway, but live with it. Uh, I got it. No, let's finish the story because I'll wander off. So anyway, and then she wanted, she and he wanted to show us her parts. And oh my God, everybody just screamed. You know, it was like, I don't know, like going to the midsummer screen. So we had to go and get Pat Boone, and we had to bring him to the line face woman, and definitely bring him, you know, to see the half man, half woman. And we did. We disguised him, and we put tissue paper or something. No, I don't know. In his to in his mouth, you know, and we had uh, uh, Connie Stevens sunglasses that were huge, and you know, and I think we even made him up a little bit, and put a hat on him. And you know, I have a lot of hats. Okay, so anyway, we first went to the lion-faced woman, and he was just standing in front of her and staring at her, and she said, I'll never forget this. The lion-faced woman said to him, "What the hell are you looking at?" But she used another word instead of hell. She was the lion-faced woman. Yeah. Oh, okay. So then we told him that we're going to take him into for 50 cents more into the other tent, and he was on the side with me, and we didn't. Brenda Lee was too young. She was like 15 years old, so we didn't bring her. But Connie, you know, we were pinching each other through the sheet, and so when it all happened, uh, Pat kept backing up to the exit, you know. And then when the half man, half woman wanted to show her parts or his parts or whatever, he let out with the biggest scream and he ran. He, you know, and I honestly remember that he was really angry. Well, not angry because Pat Boone, you know, he would not be angry, but it was not something he wanted to experience. So that's my one story. And if Pat comes on the other story where I almost blew him to smithereens. uh, wow. So what's the latest, Kelly? You're on for a second.
I'm on for a
He's not
second.
going to.
No.
There is
We're
no
still
way.
trying. We're still in the process of doing our best.
Yeah, there's no way. Okay.
Well, we don't know if there is a way or if there's not a way.
Well, because I have to tell you something. Everybody, and I wanted Pat to hear this, when I announced that Pat Boone is coming on, oh, everybody just reached out and sent me a message. They couldn't wait. And I'm sure we have a big audience out there right now. And I'm so sorry. It's not my fault. You know, maybe it's my shirt. Uh, and you know, I was talking about stars, and I just realized I put my star um, hat on. Now, I'm not a star. I couldn't wait for Pat to come on, you know. And, you know, a couple of days ago, Norman Lear, oh, did you see him on some of the shows being interviewed? 100 years old. Wow. And he said something that I have always said, you know. So I don't know if Norman Lear stole it from me or no. I'm sure I stole it from him. But he said, I live in the moment. And I've said that ever since I turned 90. And wow, I'm not far away from his 100th year. Kelly's like talking to him quietly. And God, it worked. It worked before, but it doesn't.
I'm running through the jungle.
And
no, we're going to do it by phone.
We are?
Just called, yes. I just called, and we're going to make life super easy.
Okay.
And he's going to call your landline.
He is?
Yes.
And we'll just hear his voice?
Yes.
Oh. Oh. Well, we'll just have him on again, you know? And, you know, yeah, well, you'll go over to, no, then who will work on my stuff on this side? Okay. So, anyway, you know, I just wanted to verify if these stories that I'm about to tell, if I'm exaggerating.
I hope so.
No, I don't think so. Because I got to tell you something. Annette Bening came to my house one night for dinner. Not with Warren Beatty, her husband. And I was telling her a story about him, you know, when I played the Caribe Hilton in San Juan. And I said, you know, before I tell you the story, because it was back in the 50s, you know, I don't know if I'm exaggerating, if I'm building the story up. And she said, well, let's get him on the phone. And he said, that's exactly the way it was. So I feel good about telling you the story about half man and half woman who actually did have on one side, I don't know, am I allowed to say this?
No.
Oh, well,
don't say it.
Had a boob.
Oh, well, that's
oh my God, better. There he is.
Good afternoon. Hi.
Okay.
It is. I'm going to put you on speaker. Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
What happened?
I don't know what happened.
Say hi to everybody.
Okay, hello everybody. I've been trying, sweat and blood here, trying to get connected to you guys. I'm not good at this, but I followed instructions.
That's okay. You're doing great. This will be totally fine. Sid just wants somebody to tell him he's not crazy.
No, well, come on.
Not the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm not senile and out of.
Yeah, well, I got Pat. I was so looking forward to this. Did you, while you were frantically trying to hook up Pat, were you watching the show?
No, I kept seeing your picture, and I clicked on it. I would press call, and my face would show up on my screen. Very nice, heavily made up, and looking good. but never. And it said that you were trying to call me, so I was trying to alternate between not doing anything and trying to call back, and hoping I wasn't messing it all up. But anyway, here we are.
Well, thank you so much, Pat. Like I said, we've been on for 2 years, and we've had a huge amount of incredible guest stars. But I got to tell you the truth, and my fingers are not crossed. I couldn't wait for this one because well, we haven't seen each other, you know, well, and
No.
we have followed each other's careers.
Yeah, right.
And you're probably really angry at me because I don't know why you weren't on the Donnie Marie show. I think we
Well,
tried to get you.
I'm not mad at anybody. I mean, I thought I wasn't on their show because actually they were so much younger than me, and I knew that to their way of thinking, I was an old man.
Oh, come on. That was in the 70s. No, 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 definitely not. Because
But
if you were
but
an
they
old
were
man, I was an old man. You know,
but they
yesterday I became 93 years old,
wow.
and I was telling everybody, you know, people are watching us from all over the world, and and I have to tell you something. Pat, when I announced that you were coming on, I got more excitement all over the world, knowing that you know you were coming on today. So we're having a huge audience out there, and they stuck with me, you know. And I did my tap dance
Yeah.
because yeah, you know, trying to get you on. But Pat, you know, I told them the story about, you know, we did that state fair tour
Yeah.
and with Connie Stevens and Brenda Lee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I did not tell him the story where I almost blew you to smithereens up.
Yeah. Right. I want to tell them that myself, and also a story about Connie Stevens that maybe you may not remember, but it's sort of a scandalous story, and it deserves to be told.
Well, then
Not
let's hear it.
not scandalous, but
Oh.
shall we try again either today or soon?
No, we can talk now. We've got you on the phone. Everybody can hear you.
Oh well, okay. So we'll just do it by phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then
Well,
Pat, yeah, I definitely want to have you back. You got to come back, and we'll send somebody over there to make sure, you know, that you that you come on. But I got to tell you something, Pat. Don't feel bad because, like I said, we've done 100 and what?
No, we've done
How
a
many?
lot.
150 shows or more.
Not that well.
Okay, whatever. Kelly's trying
well,
to figure it
I'm
out.
doing it.
She's not good at math.
I'm not.
Okay, so anyway, and we have every week there's some kind of a problem. You know, Beverly
Oh,
D'Angelo, she's been on, I don't know how,
Three
three times,
times.
and she still has a problem getting on. You know, David Copperfield, well, he's a magician, so he comes right
yeah,
on. You know, we didn't have a
yeah.
problem with him.
Well, since I'm not on visually, I can just tell you that I look very good. I'm quite handsome, and you're much younger than you know I am. My skin is unblemished, my hair is full and nice, and I'm very muscular, and so I'm just describing, you know, just freelance the way I actually look. I'm wearing a blue shirt. My teeth are clean and white. I don't look like I'm a day over 42.
It's true. I've seen him.
Oh,
It's quite attractive.
I just want people to have a real clear idea of what I look like since they can't see me in person. I look like one of your puppets.
yeah, I'm one of my puppets. Hey, listen, you know what? I want everybody to know a couple of things about Pat Boone. He is the second biggest charting artist of the 50s. He was second. And guess who was first? Elvis Presley.
Yep.
So we are talking to a huge star. That's why I couldn't wait for you to come on. And I know that Elvis was your opening act.
Yeah, I didn't know if you knew that. But
yeah.
Because people don't understand how that could possibly be. But it was in Cleveland. It was a big sock hop that the nation's #1 DJ, Bill Randall, was hosting, and he had me come in to headline because I'd only been recording since March of '65, but 55. I mean, so wait a minute, no, it was
Yeah, 1955. It was.
55.
Yeah, I looked it up.
And so I had 3 million selling singles since March of '65. The third was actually becoming a million seller, but I went in to be the headliner of this sock hop in Cleveland, and he had this young fellow who would come up from Shreveport, where he was appearing on the Louisiana Hayride show. It was like a more southern version of the Grand Ole Opry, and they thought of him as a rockabilly. He was singing country music and trying to get some R&B beats into those songs. He only had one record. It was on Sun Records, and it was Blue Moon of Kentucky, keep on shining. Well, that's a bluegrass song, Bill Monroe, and he was trying to make it sound rock and roll, which it didn't. But he came up, Bill Randall brought him up to appear on the show ahead of me on the sock hop, and of course the kids didn't know who he was, so Bill introduced him. Let's give a nice welcome to this young fellow. You may hear from him soon, named Elvis Presley. And he came out, and they liked the way he looked. I could look through the curtain. I could see the kids, talking. Oh, he's cute. Look at that. He's cute. And but what's that song he's singing? That sounds like a hillbilly. Blue Moon of Kentucky, keep on shining. and so he finished, and they gave him a nice hand. And he said, "Thank you very much. I'd like to do the other side of that lecture for you. Hope you like it." And he sang, "That's all right, Mama. That's all right with me." That was rhythm and blues, and they loved it, and so did I. I was backstage. I thought, "Oh, I see. That's good." But when he finished that, that's all he had. So we said, "Thank you very much," and he left. And then I went on, and I had 3 hit singles, and I followed him. So I had the good sense, though, is never to follow him again. I never would have followed Elvis Presley again. I was fortunate that he was my opening act at one time when we met, and then we never appeared together after that. We visited each other's movie sets at 20th when we were filming at the same time. With both had contracts with 20th Century Fox, and I'd visit his set, and he would visit mine, and then we visited each other's homes. We both were renting homes in Bel Air. I had my wife and 4 little kids already, and he had his buddies and the pool table, and he would have somebody go out and pick up a young starlet and bring her over for her date with him, and he'd introduce her around and then say, "Hey, let me show you the rest of the house," and it would take him about an hour to show her the rest of the house. And then when he brought her out, he had his buddy take her home. That was her date with Elvis.
Wow, that's pretty scandalous.
Well, well, I don't know what went on as he showed her the rest of the house. I was not privy to that, but I knew that he'd come to my house on a Sunday afternoon, and my kids would be in the pool, and he would show up in the backyard, and the kids get out of the pool and go running and jump up on him. I'd say, "Stop that, girls. You're getting him all wet." He said, "No, don't. Leave him alone, man. I like him." And he did, because he was wanting, obviously, what I had, a wife and kids, and all he had were his dates with young actresses at that point. But I think maybe at least one of those times when I saw him in one of his dates, he already had Priscilla stashed at Graceland, but they weren't married, and she was just having to hang out back there while he was making his movies. I've never understood why her military parents let their teenage daughter go to Memphis and stay at his place, and him not married, although I think they thought that his mother was going to be around. And maybe she was sometimes, I don't know. Because we weren't close with each other's lives. We were both too busy with our own. But I liked him so much. We were good friends. We were 2 boys from Tennessee. He was from Memphis, me from Nashville. And we followed each other's careers very closely. In fact, you mentioned what happened in the 50s, I had 41 hit records or chart records. In the 50s, he had 40. They weren't all number one, either for him or me, but we were on the charts, single record charts. I was on 41 times, and he was on 40.
Wow.
Wow. And so we matched each other hit for hit for about 6 or 7 years into the 60s. And then, of course, everybody's careers began to ease off at some point. And that first week, when I was not on the Billboard single chart, after being on for 220.
Weeks,
yeah. Something like 240 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, consecutive.
2.5 years. And never being off the single chart, it was a stunner for me not to find any of my records on the charts. There would have been one of Elvis's, I'm sure, but he was not on for 200, whatever it was, 20 weeks, 200, whatever it was, over 4.5 years.
Let me ask you, Pat.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something, because I know you made a ton of movies, and I remember you did a movie with Shirley Jones, who I knew and a friend of mine. Wasn't that movie called April Love?
It was.
Oh, and you know what I remember? That they wanted, the director wanted you to kiss her, and you had to ask your wife, right?
Yes. I mean, because I didn't know this was going to happen. I mean, I'm making records, which I was amazed they became hits, and then I was asked to do a screen test for 20th, and I did, and then they wanted me to make a movie or two, and I did. But I had to talk to my wife about my doing love scenes in films. We had 4 little girls already at 23, 24 years old, and so when the director Henry Levin said, Pat, at the end of this scene on this Ferris wheel, when you get to the end of this song, lean in and kiss Shirley Jones. And I said, on the mouth? He said, yeah. I said, wait a minute, Henry, that was not in the script. And he said, no, but you got to kiss the leading lady. And I said, but I haven't talked to I know this sounds terribly naive. It was. I was naive. And so I said, can we do it later in the film? Because I need to talk to my own wife, Shirley, and make sure that it's not going to bother her for me to spend an afternoon kissing our friend Shirley Jones. And,
I also hear that you were offered a Marilyn Monroe movie, and you turned it down because, I don't know, you were afraid it was going to hurt your image?
No, I'll tell you why. It was not going to hurt my image, although it would have affected it. But it was a very immoral story about a young guy, like a young college-age kid, having an affair with the still beautiful but slightly fading star, touring the country as a cabaret performer, and them having an affair in a Midwestern town. And of course, him wanting to get out of school and get a job and support her, and she knew that wasn't going to work, so she left him brokenhearted. And they call that a coming of age film now. You know, like he'll be hurt, but he'll get over it and remember the whole thing very fondly. Well, I said to the head of the studio when he wanted me to do this film, I said, look, Mr. Adler, I'd love to do a film with Marilyn Monroe, of course, but this is a very immoral story. I mean, I'm playing a young guy, and I've got millions of young fans, and I supposedly have an affair with Marilyn Monroe, and all my young boy fans are going to be wishing they could be doing that themselves, and it's just not the kind of film I can make. He said, well, this sounds like the Middle Ages. I mean, you're in the movie, and we can suspend you. And I said, well, do whatever you have to do, Mr. Adler. I have to obey my conscience. I can't do a film like this that tells a very immoral story as if it's okay. Nobody got hurt. And so you know, they went ahead and did that film, that story.
Who played you?
Woodward. They did with Joanne Woodward and the guy from Westwood Story. The guy that played Tony in Westwood Story.
West Side.
West Side Story.
West Side. Yeah.
I've let the West Side. I've let his story, his name slip. But the film was a terrible flop. It was a money loser, and because I didn't do it, they put me into Journey to the Center of the Earth, which was a huge cult classic, a huge successful film that they told me later saved the studio from bankruptcy, because while we were filming and making that film, Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton were putting them into bankruptcy, having their affair and leaving
Cleopatra.
Doing Cleopatra.
Yeah, right.
And so I heard later from an executive of the studio, it's a good thing you did Journey to the Center of the Earth, because it saved 20th from bankruptcy.
Well, you're the I'm sorry to jump in, Pat, but Shirley Temple saved them in '39, and you saved them in the '50s. Yeah. The same studio. You know, I know that you have mentioned Pearl Bailey and Billy Graham and Andy Williams many times, because I guess you work with them and they were also friends of yours. And I have great stories about all of them, because, you know, Andy Williams, I work with Kay Thompson and the Williams brothers. And Andy Williams, you know, stepped out of his brothers.
That's right.
Yeah. And so, and then of course, Johnny, the Osmonds, it was Andy Williams that, you know, presented them to the world.
Boy quartet,
yeah. Wow.
I took the Osmonds with me to Japan, their whole family. In fact, with Jimmy and Don, Marie,
and
my kids, and we had a whale of a big family. We broke records in Japan for foreign performers, because it was the Boone family and the Osmond family. And of course, they weren't known at that point except for appearing on the Andy Williams show. But
of course,
Andy Williams show was popular, and so I mean, we got to be very, very close friends. The Osmonds. In fact, one of the boys almost married one of my daughters. They were very much in love, but that didn't work out. Mainly because the Osmonds were very serious Mormons, and we were just good church people. But my daughter couldn't accept the Mormon precepts, and so they couldn't be married.
Wow.
Anyway, that was a little heartbreak for both of them, but then they both had happy marriages with others and stayed very good friends.
You know what? I thought I had a huge career, but I hate that you beat me out. I really do. I got to tell you, you know, whoa, your career, unbelievable. Because I was telling the audience when I heard I was going to open for you on the fair tour, the fair dates, that I think the first fair we played was Ohio.
I think it was.
Yeah, though, and that's where I almost blew you up.
It was should we tell that story?
Yeah, you tell it. Not me, because I'll get in trouble.
Well, it was a very big, I mean, Ohio State Fair, maybe the biggest of the fairs.
Huge.
And Connie Stevens flew in to be an opening act too. And it was you guys and Connie Stevens and me.
And Brenda Lee.
Oh, well, Brenda Lee, I think, was the second night, or I forget, whichever.
No, it was a huge bill.
Fake show?
Yeah, well, she was only 15 years old. Remember?
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Well, my memory has failed me on that. But you guys, you and Marty were and I were sharing a trailer out in the center of the big field where the fair was taking place, in the center of the track, and we couldn't get to a restroom in the sand. we had to use the restroom on the trailer, but it wasn't hooked up. It wasn't hooked up as a trailer, so I mean, as a bathroom in there. It was just for us changing clothes and waiting between our two shows. So because you guys, I don't know what it was, why you weren't in there, but I was changing to go on, and there was a little canister with some powder in it in the window of the trailer. And because I couldn't use the bathroom in the trailer, I just thought, well, this looks like caulking powder or something, maybe to repair something or clean something in the trailer. So I relieved myself in that canister, which had your powder, gunpowder, in it. And when the time came at the conclusion of your incredible act, there was a vampire in a cask.
Yeah.
And when you raised the lid of that cask, it was supposed to burst into flame.
Right.
And it was gunpowder, but it didn't happen. And so I was backstage ready to come on, and Marty comes off furious to get stuff off the stage so I could go on. And he said, he's cussing, somebody peed in our powder.
Our gunpowder. Yeah, but if you were a smoker and you had a cigarette in your mouth, we would have blown it off. And I'm not talking about the cigarette.
No, the powder. I mean, it was very explosive.
Oh my God! It was a whole coffee can full of
coffee can.
Yeah. And so that was of gunpowder. We could have blown up a building with that.
Well, let me tell you, since we're in sort of a fairly risque level, let me tell you about Connie Stevens.
Oh, that's the one we all want to hear.
Well, she showed up just barely in time to have a quick rundown with the band, and then the show began. And while she was during her rehearsal, quick little rehearsal, she let it be known to her road manager that, and I hope this doesn't shock anybody, but her monthlies had begun. And
shocking, she's female.
Yeah, right. And it had ruined her. Now she was wearing a very short skirt with other little skirts under it. It was the fashion at the time. So that the skirt stood out, and she was going to be on a stage with people looking, maybe seeing up under her skirt, and she needed some fresh panties. But her baggage had gone to the hotel, so she sent her road manager to a drugstore somewhere around the fairground where he could bring her back some panties, and he came back and he just couldn't find any. And so I said, I heard about it. I said, look, I've got some clean jockey shorts, and you use those. And so she did. And Connie Stevens went on in that short bobby, I think, what they call them, bobby, not bobby socks, but
like a poodle skirt type of thing?
Poodle skirt.
Yeah.
That's what it was, poodle skirts and Pat Boone's jockey shorts for her first show, maybe her second show. And so I saved the day for her, but ruined the day for you.
No,
you win some, you lose some.
Pat, while we were waiting for you to come on, I hope you remember the story that we brought you to the freak show in between shows, and we disguised the hell out of you. Yeah, do you remember that? And we went and saw the lion-faced woman, and you were standing there staring at her, and she said, "What the hell are you looking at?" She was the lion-faced woman.
I kept waiting for her to take off the mask. Not a mask.
Yeah, but the best part of the story is that we paid 50 cents extra. Remember, we went back in the back of the tent and we saw the half man, half woman.
Oh.
Do you remember that? You ran for the exit?
Oh, I'd forgotten that.
Oh my God. Well, I'll never forget. It's my favorite story in show business.
I think I must have been in total shock.
Oh no. Well, I mean, come on. We disguised you. I don't know. Connie gave you her big sunglasses, and I had a hat, and Marty stuck, I don't know, tissue paper in your mouth. Because I was telling the audience, you were the biggest star, you still are, on the planet, and you could not go into public. And we didn't
Well,
have
that's
any
true.
bodyguards to take us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I was almost relieved when some of that eased off and I could go into public, because it was quite crippling. It was almost like being a public enemy instead of being a big star, because you were sealed off from normal
the world.
food.
Yeah.
You know, I did some milk commercials and they publicized those so highly that when I would travel the country and I would order some food in a restaurant, and I knew people were looking at me, but at least I could eat. But I would order milk, and I'd raise a glass of milk to take a sip, and applause would break out in the restaurant. Look, he does drink milk. Look, he does.
That is great. That's really great. Do you want to know something, Pat?
Sure.
The show usually has an hour, and then after an hour, they turn us off. We're 56 minutes, and Pat, please, we're gonna, I'm gonna call you right back after the show, and please answer the phone.
Okay, I will.
Okay, and Pat,
I will tell you this though, that I skipped lunch to do what we're doing now. So I've still got a little lunch to eat, but we'll get on right after this.
no, you can be eating, and I'll just do all the talking, and I'll do the talk. Pat, thank you so much for coming on. Oh no, we're gonna do it. We've got to do it again.
Yeah. We can tell people to forget what we just talked about,
and we'll do it again.
Okay, we'll do it.
No, we have more stories. Trust me. No,
Okay.
and some of them.
And some of them are real. You can make up whatever you want.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, some of them are true.
Pat, oh, I wish I could see you, but it's going to happen.
Congratulations and happy birthday, man.
Well,
you're a role model for me. My dad lived to be 94, Mama 91, and they weren't even trying. I'm trying.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm working at it.
And you know what? I'm still working.
Of course you are.
Yeah, and we all have to do that. I hear you're on cruise ships, right? Weren't you?
Well, I did one. It was I was not being paid for. I was the guest of the folks who own Hobby Lobby. It was a travel.
Oh.
It was a tour to the Bible lands that are described in the Bible, and I did that alone. But it was not for performing. It was just for the total enjoyment, the honor of it. But I am singing. I'm going to go to Nashville and record in February. This month I'm going there to be at Elvis's celebration of his, the commemoration of his passing, August 16th, and then I'm going to be interviewed about my relationship with him, and then I'm going to go to Nashville and record a song I wrote. It came to me in a dream, Sid.
Really?
And I dreamed I had a big hit country record called Grits. You know what grits is? Grits are. You've eaten grits, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
Well, it's just little grains of corn, but it's like cream of wheat, but it's not. It's cream of corn. But grits, I love grits. It's a southern dish, and I woke up coming out of a dream in which I had a country hit called Grits. And unlike most dreams like that, I could remember the song that I had dreamed. And now I'm going to record it this month in Nashville with some top country musicians. Grits, bestest food there is, country caviar, Tennessee foie gras. Grits, bestest food there is, you can keep cuisine, give me my grits. And it's all about all the fancy things that people eat, like escargot. Those things have got to go. And I don't want pate. What is that anyway? And stuff like that.
You got to be careful. Elvis might steal your song.
Well, he's a little bit out of the picture right now.
You've gone country and gospel and rock and oh my God, yeah every avenue.
You really did.
Pat,
and I'm still at it. I mean, I could tell you more next time.
okay, Pat, thank you so, so much for coming on.
Well, I
And
enjoyed it as always. Good to talk to you.
it's great talking to you. Oh my God. I was really looking forward, but we'll just do it again.
Okay.
Thank you, Pat.
We'll save some stories and make up a couple.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, we have a ton of stories. We've been in show business a long time.
Okay.
Love you.
Well, God bless you guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. That was fun. I'm sorry we couldn't see each other, but we'll do it again. I promise you. Isn't he cool? Oh, you know, wow. He is the coolest. I remember that. He hasn't changed, and neither have I. Okay, I will. People say that. Sid, you never change. I said, why? Am I supposed to?
Are you supposed to?
No, no. I like the way I am. Okay, thank you so
I
much.
like the way you are too. Don't ever change.
Hey, thank you, Kelly. I'll see you next week, everybody. Love you. Thank you so much for tuning in and struggling with me. I promise we'll do better next time.
Or not.
To be continued.
Bye.